3, 2, 1. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Tomes and Tunes. This is what week is it? Week 23. 23 weeks of talking with songwriters about books and swapping songs. And this is, one of the highlights of my week. Just the opportunity to connect and be human a little bit. So thank you for being here. If you are tuning in right now, please say hi in the chat box. And if you are tuning in later in the replay, say hi in the chat box anyway. Would love to see you. I am super excited to introduce to you my guest for this week, Amelia K Spicer. She is literally right down the road from me. We just realized that. We're probably about 2 miles apart, straight down. So funniest thing, when I hear the airplane right under the flight pattern here go over my head, and then a moment later I hear it coming through from her side. So I'm going to say hi to Amelia. Hello.
Hi. Yeah, thanks for sending the planes over.
I'm just going to keep sending them.
Yeah, cool. Hey, everyone.
I don't know who's in those planes. Where's everybody going right now?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
They're transporting their snacks back and forth.
Right. You were actually recently traveling, weren't you?
I was, but I was driving.
You drove. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you just do a beeline straight across, or did you take some stops, see the Grand Canyon, all that
Pretty
stuff?
much on the way there was in a hurry, and on the way back took a little bit of time. Spent a couple days in Taos. But other than that, actually, it was sort of it was more beeline than one might think. Yeah. But on the way there, I was just trying to keep my parents as safe as possible. So I was on my way to see them. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, a friend just posted yesterday that she misses her mother so much, and her mother is I think she's in Canada, and my friend is just there. She's not permitted to enter the province where her mom is, and she said that her parents are fine. They are fine, but she herself is just in so much pain not being able to see them.
It's hard, and the holidays are going to be even tougher because we had the good fortune of being able to go outside. When that gets taken away in small spaces and not much ventilation, it's going to be a different story. So I know we're all ready for the COVID to be done. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we are ready for that. I've been hearing some news from New York that the restaurants are going to be opening year round outside, and I'm a Northeast girl, and you're a Northeast girl, and I have this big picture of February sitting outside at a restaurant.
Doesn't sound real good.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound real good. I'm not going to be ordering gazpacho.
Yeah. Gazpacho in February outside in New York.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that's going to work, but everybody's just trying to make something work, I guess. And I was hopeful that they would pass some legislation to help save our venues, and I thought that was happening, but looks like that got taken off the table. I don't know. It's a terrible situation. Because even when we finally can go back on tour, where are we gonna play?
I think our what is the word? I don't want to use the word challenge, but almost like our task, if we choose to, your mission, if you choose to accept it.
Right.
Right now is every step of the way, just do the action, whatever it is that we can to help ourselves, to help our communities, and not worry too far down the road. Not,
I agree.
Not start to build those stories in our heads of, what's going to happen, because there's no answer to that question, but it causes so much anxiety and unrest inside,
It really does. And I mean, it's a lesson that applies to any day, any year of our lives, which is, do your work.
Yeah.
Do what you can for your day, for your moment, and try mightily, as you say, to leave the rest behind, or not behind, but, I at the beginning of all this, probably like a lot of people, I was watching the news all the time.
Yeah.
But I can't do that anymore.
No.
So I tune in, get the headlines,
Yeah.
And then I try to create art. I try to go on my list. I'm pretty, I have a very long list of things I want to do. So the more time I can get to those things, the better.
Yeah.
So, yeah, other than I watched the debate last night. I was doing a travel log on Facebook.
Oh, yeah, I actually saw your travel log.
Yeah, it's a little rare for me these days, but yeah.
I did catch a little bit of that. It was, I actually caught it midstream, and I was like, what is she talking about? And then I was like, oh, okay, here we go.
Yeah, it was kind of, I don't know, it was good to connect with people.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like being and I was going to say, sometimes it's like being at a ball game, like you see all your friends, but the fact is I've never been to a ball game. I don't exactly know. But I imagine. I know.
Never been?
No.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
I think that actually the debate last night is why I had such a headache. I was, for anyone watching, I had to take some ibuprofen, which is very rare for me, and it has completely wrecked my voice, unfortunately. And now I know it was the debate's fault. Why I had to break down and take.
Blame it on politics.
Yeah, and I mean you can hear it wrecks me.
Yeah,
which is why I don't take it. But anyway.
Well, I have a question for you. You said that you have
a
long list of things that you want to do, that you're interested in doing, and are those things for now, regardless of COVID, or are they for post-pandemic, or a combo?
Combination. Yeah, I mean some of the things. As it worked out with my tour life, January, February were very, very busy. And so I was looking to the beginning of March for a couple of months to be my sort of, okay, now I'm going to get back to writing. I'm going to get back to recording. I'm going to get into self-care, go get some acupuncture, all that stuff. So, of course, it just so happens.
Careful what you wish for.
All that
You'll have a lot of time.
Like, oh, yeah, don't want to go to any doctors now. So, but I think the survival of all this, and I don't mean the literal, but because it has come in waves. It seems like when I've talked to friends, the different chapters of maybe the chapters of grieving, even, of like you're angry, you're in denial, like, oh no, we're fine. And now I'm definitely into the place of let me just do what I can. So some of the projects are, I'm trying to record, but I'm also getting to some stuff creatively that I've been wanting to do for a long time with my creative partners. So it's kind of a gift in that way. I mean, you have to look at it and how you can, and
what you're able to do, what materials, what are the constraints, and how can you work within them.
I did an interview a couple of weeks ago, and I know that a lot of people feel pressured because a lot of blogs were like, hey, you should be learning how to speak Italian now, or the pressure of doing something with this time. I mean, it really varies for everybody, so I don't think anybody should feel like they have to be accomplishing some great task at this time. For some people, just getting out of bed and staying healthy is what this time is about. And and so mileage may vary, I say.
I feel like there's a lot for each of us to learn about ourselves during this time. At least that's how I'm trying to approach it. It's, really easy. There's so much going on that's unusual and so captivates our attention in the outside world, but a lot of it is, doesn't bring any sense of calm, at least to me, and I know for a lot of people. And so, I feel like, well, we can look out or we can look in, and I know that the inward looking is also not bringing calm to a lot of people, but that's the part that, we can control some of that, or, better understand some of that. It's a little bit more, we can sort of toggle back and forth and control that self-manage, I guess. Whereas the outside world, we can't control whatever's going on out there.
I mean, for me, it just shines a light on the things I wanted to work on anyway, as far as getting to a place of calm in general. You know, whether it's on a yoga mat or meditation or to carry that forward. I felt like in such a frenzied pace in some ways. Yeah, and so it would, it comes in, like, for a lot of touring people, and comes in these frenzied patches, and then you don't, at least for me, I don't necessarily, when I'm done with that and I have some time, it's like being able to utilize that time to its fullest. Yeah. So that work I needed to do anyway, and so here I am. Yeah. Which brings me to one of the books. I'd said to you that it's like what I'd like to be reading is sort of escapism novels, but I can't seem to do that. It's a focus issue, I do believe. Something else I'm working on, but and some of that too is these creative things that I'm working on are I want to make sure at the end of this that I've got something to show for the time in captivity. So there is a stress to those things, even though it's like I wake up really early and I'm like, okay, it's not enough time, which is a really weird thing.
I feel the same way. I do the same
right?
thing.
Okay. So
Yeah.
So
some days are really like, wake up, go. It's like,
it's a strange thing.
It is a strange thing
to say when all you have is time. But the one of the books that I read a long time ago and have talked about multiple interviews, I'm now kind of listening to on Audible when I'm kind of needing to calm. But Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now has been, I keep reaching for it. And I know it's not an exotic pick. It's hardly new. But I guess I need to keep... oh, here comes the plane. I need to keep hearing it in order for it to really sink in, I suppose. So
the social media news cycle is so fast, but there's a reason why books are books, and I definitely think that is a timeless one. It's not a blog, it's a book. It's meant to be. I think I tend to revisit books, or even whether it's in their entirety or just open up to a page and read. He did I want to say it was around 2008 or maybe somewhere in how do you say that? The late aughts. He did a series with Oprah. I'm not an Oprah watcher, but I tuned into the audio of this where Oprah and Eckhart Tolle were in each week, I think, or each episode they would talk about this book, and it was really great to have them in dialogue and Oprah trying to understand and parse out what is he talking about and what's his experience.
I find his voice to be, as far as the listening to it at night or whenever, I find his voice to be part of the actual meditation of the book. So that's been but it's I remember reading it the first time and kind of having my head explode about, like, what do you mean time is the problem? What? And then, as you sort of understand what the now... Is my chair squeaking? I think
Mine squeaks too, though. Let me
Okay,
see if I
sorry.
can make it squeak. Yeah.
Hold on. Airplanes and squeaking chairs. Good Lord, people.
You know,
let's
I have to say that.
Let's get this TV set operational.
You know, one thing I actually appreciate about this time that we're in right now is that everything is imperfect, and everybody is like in process, in you know, trying to learn, using new technology, on squeaky chairs, you know, the internet connection. Like there is nothing even pretending to be perfect right now.
It's a new renaissance for the arts. We all get to be engineers.
Yeah, you know, and there's something about the whole sense that we're all in process together. There's something beautiful to me about that, like very wabi-sabi.
I love that phrase. I'm glad that you used it. A lot of people don't know what that is. I often use it in the beauty of imperfection. For those who don't know, what I found when driving across the country, you know, aside from who's wearing a mask and what states are this or that, it struck me, you know, this is everybody's news, this is everybody's life. I know that sounds trite, but when you're driving and you're in all these different places, and people are coming in and out of a gas station with a mask on, and whether they want to be wearing it or not, it struck me as pretty incredible of just imagining the last bunch of months for everybody watching the news, for everybody making decisions about their family and about that trip that they're taking. And you're right, it is a very unifying thing, and I hope ultimately it makes us a better country and a better world. It's certainly the opportunity.
Yeah, I found myself thinking about that idea of all of us in this shared moment together. I thought about that a lot at the beginning, or toward the beginning of this time. And I haven't been thinking about it lately. Thank you for reminding me, you know, because of the election season and how divisive that can be. It sort of takes the spotlight off of the shared experience and turns it to the divisive experience.
Right. Yeah. Then you really see what half the country feels.
But that's kind of an interesting idea that at any moment in time, both exist, both the shared, more universal experience and the divisive experience, and we can toggle between the two and make conscious choices about which part are we going to focus on when, and what is the effect that it has on us internally in our emotional and mental well-being.
One of the other books I've been reading, and it's mostly, it's fascinating, but it's also something I can pick up and put down, which again seems to be necessary for my little the hamster wheel that's up there. But it's called Written in History. Let me see if I have. Is this going to be backwards? Oh, here.
Oh, no, it's frontwards.
Yay.
Oh.
Letters That Changed the World.
I'm intrigued.
It's wonderful. It's not the only book of its kind, but it's just a collection of actual letters written throughout time, sometimes around global events and our history, and sometimes between artists, just capturing a moment of their dynamic. And some of them are short, and some of them are several pages of the back and forth. And from like Frida Kahlo to Diego Rivera to Peter the Great and to Catherine, you know, it's like it really covers a lot of territory. And so you can open it and read one, but I find it comforting anytime we can get some kind of perspective of what's come before us.
Yeah.
You know, they're sort of casually saying, you know, talking about Napoleon or it's sorry, see, ibuprofen. Casually talking about the wars that have shaped our world, and letters that either were written during them or after them, and you know, it reminds us that there are beginnings and endings to lots of many crises in this, you know, in our world. So that's kind of comforting, but it also is very inspiring. First of all, nobody writes letters anymore, so you know. And actually, the one from Leonard Cohen to Marianne as she was dying, which was just a couple of years ago, I read it, and you know, it's pretty. It's out there, and it's part of one of the films of Leonard Cohen, so it's not like it was revealed for the first time in this book. But I thought, was that an email? I mean, they don't say it as an email, but it was. She was on her deathbed and sent a friend to tell Cohen, and Cohen wrote a letter that got to her the next day. So, but the tenderness that you see in relationships that maybe you've only read about in books, it sent me down a lot of different paths. Some of the letters from Frida Kahlo to Rivera, it's almost like I could draw a line from one of her letters to Maya Angelou. And I could draw a line, continue that line almost to Lucinda Williams' Fruits of My Labor. Like in my head, I saw the road. I have no idea, you know, about any of those if any of those road stops happened artistically at all, but it kind of get me, you know, then I start wondering about things and I start researching things, and it's pretty inspiring. So I recommend it.
That sounds like a beautiful book. I find a lot of solace myself in looking to looking backwards and seeing, you know, how did people navigate,
Right.
you know, things that needed navigating,
Right.
you know, by its definition, it means that they're traveling from one point to another, and it frequently is through a treacherous landscape, you know, one point being happiness, point A being happiness, and point B being happiness. And how do you get from point A to point B when there's a huge disruption to the first happiness? You know, you don't have to journey out of happiness unless something happens to disrupt it. And so how did people in the past navigate that disruption to get back to happiness or peace or whatever it is? For me, constantly one of my sources of comfort is the fact that the yoga practice was developed, you know, thousands of years ago, because people felt the exact same things that we feel now: anxiety, overwhelm, sadness, whatever. Right. And the practice. And then
Iyengar, because people had injuries.
Right. Then there's the physical yoga practice. Yeah, right. For sure. Exactly. You know, but the philosophy behind it, you know, just trying to figure out, okay, why do we, you know, what keeps us up at night? What is that worry about? Or what wakes us, jolts us, you know, awake in the morning with that anxiety? And what is that about? And how can we take the action that we need to take on a day-to-day level, but do it without being overwhelmed with fear or, you know, whatever it might be. And, you know, for sure, you know, nowadays, right now, 2020 feels like, my sweetheart Darby said the other day that this year didn't come with an instruction manual. And I overheard him saying that to a friend, of course, over Zoom or something. And I was thinking about it, you know, this year didn't come with an instruction manual. Like 2019 was built upon 2018, and 2018 was built upon 2017, and we could see you know, a little bit into the future and try to, you know, work towards some kind of vision that's, you know, it seemed like 2018 was related to 2017, whereas 2020 just feels like it's like kind of hanging out there somewhere, like,
right.
you know, unrelated. But at the same time, we have all individually been through something, you know, some hard time in our life that we somehow got through. And so, you know, it's less tangible, whatever it is, those lessons we learned in those times, but some kind of strength built up in us, or some kind of, you know, you found Eckhart Tolle, and I, you know, like we found things because in the past we needed them, and then we turned back to them because we need them again this year. And I guess in that
it's
way,
like it's like meatloaf and mashed potatoes, and that's probably the first time that Eckhart Tolle has been, you know, put in the same sentence, much less compared to meatloaf and mashed potatoes, and I don't eat either one of them. However, the comfort food, work with me. Comfort food is what we are all looking for, I'm sure. I had big hopes for 2020, aside from the fact that every year starts and you're like, okay, this is going to be the year. I actually thought, you know, numerically, and I don't follow really numerology, but I just thought it seemed like it was going to be rather magical.
It had a great number to it, right?
Yeah,
like
and I really did
clarity.
have. Yeah, and I had a lot of career-wise. I had a lot of highlights of 2019, and so I was pretty inspired coming into. Okay, I'm going to get back in the studio, and you know, has been a bit frustrating in the sense of needing to figure out lots of things to be self-contained while creating the art.
I remember when you just said you had some highlights of 2019. I remember walking into the Folk Alliance conference in New Orleans in January of this year, and getting the elevator to go up to my room in the hotel, and your face was splashed across the elevator.
It was huge.
It was bigger than you are. It was so awesome. It was really cool. And I think I took a picture of it and sent it to you, or at least I don't know. Maybe I just imagined that, but it really, like, it made me excited to see that. And I'm a little bit curious, what was a highlight for you of 2019? And then looking forward, whenever that comes, what is something that you're looking forward to when things open up again?
Well, let's see. As far as things I'm looking forward to, I'm definitely looking forward to collaborations in person, you know, people in a room, playing music.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the gigs, you know, which I definitely miss, and touring. Everybody is going to say that, and I don't have anything that's probably particularly unique, but you know, the thing that happens, the synergy that happens when people are in a room together, whether it's friends, you're having drinks, or even if you're not sitting around playing, the energy that happens with humans, you know, who have creative minds. Yeah. I miss that terribly. And so from a recording standpoint, I miss being able to go into a room and not have to do everything myself, because I feel very limited by that. But on the other hand, you know, being limited gives you a smaller sandbox, and sometimes that can be good. So I'm trying to look at all things that way. It's not always easy, you know. As from an audio standpoint, I'm kind of an audio snob, and so when I am like, how am I gonna replicate, you know, the beautiful vintage tube amps and all that stuff, you know, I'm just gonna have to figure out something else. So that's what I'm doing. As far as 2019, I felt like I was momentum is a strange thing. Momentum is a power of some sort, and you know, being a UFC fan, you can sort of see with fighters, you know, how different people deal with being on a winning streak or a losing streak and what that gives to them. And yet, with any fight, you have a chance to win or lose on its own. But I did feel like a couple of the things that were happening, whether it's official showcases at Americana Fest or Folk Alliance or playing 30A again, which is a beautiful festival in Florida. It just felt like it was all pointing towards the next thing. And some of these creative projects that I'm now working on, which aren't necessarily related to the record, I have that, but I've got some other things up my sleeve. And I was very much looking forward to those things and getting to them. So, I mean, I am getting to them. It's just now I have more time, but there are other limitations, and that's just, like I said, there's nothing unique about that. Everybody, and I'm very lucky. I'm very grateful. I have a cool place. I got to see my family. They're all healthy. I don't have much to complain about. Yeah. All things said,
So do you have a passage from one of those books that you mentioned earlier that you'd like to share?
I do. I hope. Oh my gosh.
How's your voice doing?
Oh, it's terrible. It's even just talking, like singing, forget it. It just sounds awful. But even talking, it just sounds like a dust bowl. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to read, went back and forth on this. I want to read an excerpt. Is it excerpt? Do you pronounce the T? Excerpt.
I pronounce the T but not the P myself. Excerpt. But that's how I say it. I don't know.
Oh boy. Okay, well that's another show. Dyslexia and mispronunciations. Okay. Anyway, so this is a little bit of a letter that Frida Kahlo wrote to Diego Rivera. And boy, if this ain't some poetry, I don't know what is. So here we go. The silent life giver of worlds, what is most important is the non-illusion. Morning breaks, the friendly reds, the big blues, hands full of leaves, noisy birds, fingers in the hair, pigeon's nest, a rare understanding of human struggle, simplicity of the senseless song, the folly of the wind in my heart. Don't let them rhyme, girl. Sweet chocolate of ancient Mexico, storm in the blood that comes in through the mouth, convulsion, omen, laughter and sheer teeth, needles of pearl. For some gift on a 7th of July, I ask for it. I get it. I sang, I'll sing from now on our magic, low. And she's a painter.
Yeah.
You can hear her brushstrokes on that.
I love that. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
That's
I was also uncertain about what to read. But let's see what happens if I open this. I know what you're talking about with attention. For a lot of the pandemic so far, I have been reading at night, books, physical books, and then listening to audiobooks in the morning when I go for a walk. And I've been really great because I know that scrolling through my phone or reading the news at night it does not create any sense of peace inside me. And so I, have pretty much for most of the pandemic been very good at that, but for the last week I have been terrible at it. And I don't know what the disruption in the attention is about. I think it has to do with the elections, and I find myself kind of irritably looking for reputable news reporting and not being able to get the depth of reporting that I have been craving, and I'm not exactly sure what it is I'm looking for. And it almost feels like this, there is no there. There's just this constant searching and no satisfaction feeling. And then at some point I, notice the time and I shut my phone and I turn out the light and I go to sleep. And
it sounds like the last 4 years.
Yeah. So for the last week, I even actually misplaced this book for a couple of days. It ended up underneath some other things. So I think now that I've uncovered it again tonight, and I'm speaking it aloud for accountability here, tonight at the end of the day, I'm going to be going back to The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. And her writing is just so beautiful. And so it's a sort of writing that I tend to read a paragraph or two or three and then go back and read it again. Like, how did she do that? How did she paint that picture? And some of it is devastating. This is one of the devastating moments. To me, devastating, because I had never thought about this before, and realizing that other people have. The first twigs are thin, green, and supple. They bend into a complete circle, but will not break. Their delicate, showy hopefulness, shooting from forsythia and lilac bushes, meant only a change in whipping style. They beat us differently in the spring. Instead of the dull pain of a winter strap, there were those new green switches that lost their sting long after the whipping was over. There was a nervous meanness in these long twigs that made us long for the steady stroke of a strap, or the firm but honest slap of a hairbrush. Even now, spring for me is shot through with the remembered ache of switchings, and forsythia holds no cheer.
Ooh.
When I entered that paragraph, it's the beginning of a new chapter in a new section of this book that goes by seasons, and this is spring. It really jolted me, because spring so often represents rebirth, newness, hope, and the first line, the first sentence, the first twigs are thin, green, and supple. They bend into a complete circle, but will not break. I didn't know what I was entering.
Yeah, it sounds beautiful.
Yeah, and she brings you, and she's such a master at kind of taking you on a journey just within one paragraph.
Right.
Just a few sentences.
It's really chilling, beautiful, and chilling.
Chilling is a good word. Yeah. So not, it's funny, but in the hands of a beautiful writer, even brutal stories feel so rewarding to read. It's like it's such a juxtaposition, like
Right.
this gorgeous writing against this like terrible ideas. Yeah. So earlier in the summer I read Beloved, and then she has a novel called Love, and then I turned to this one, and we'll see what comes next.
Yeah, I've always been very drawn to the dichotomy of light and dark,
Yeah.
But that is where art is made.
Yeah, totally. It is so lovely to talk with you, but would you be so kind as to sing a song?
Well, I will certainly try. As you can hear. Such a bummer. I sounded all right yesterday, but that ibuprofen, that tricky stuff, I don't know if it does that to anybody else, but it wrecks me. Where did my keep go?
You just reminded me of a song called, I think it's called Wreck You by Lori McKenna. It's a wonderful, great song.
I also realized that I could have gotten a little mixer set up here or whatever. But anyway, those are my disclaimers. And if all the notes that I can't hit or sound like this, just we'll fix it in the edit.
Yeah, right.
I guess I'll play Trainwreck, a happy little song called Trainwreck. Love is like a train wreck, I saw it coming. Heard a big noise, and I started running. Now I'm looking back, sliding off the track. Nothing left to see, nothing left to see of you and me, yeah. Why am I in this town? I just came to look around. I've seen it all before. A ceiling and a floor, 100 walls, leaning in because they know where you've been, yeah. They know where you've been, and here you are again, yeah. I have to wait, another state is coming any day now. Engines revved, eyes ahead, it takes a little know-how. I don't know how. Love is like a train wreck, I saw it coming. Heard a big noise, and I started running. Now I'm looking back, sliding off the track. Nothing left to see, nothing left to see of you and me, yeah. Nothing left to see of you and me, yeah. Nothing left to see of you and me, yeah. Well, I had to give up on a whole bunch of those notes, so I apologize. I'll redo later when I can sing and talk.
It sounded so sweet, though. You know, maybe it's that wabi sabi thing again, but
a lot of the wabi.
When you and I and Shane Alexander, hi Shane, he threw up a couple hearts for you.
Hi Shane.
For your song. That Folk Alliance conference back in January, you were hosting a showcase room, and I was one of the performers in that room, and I lost my voice entirely, and I remember, I just felt terrible. I mean, so many layers of terrible, to be, and that particular night, I think it might have been my last showcase of my schedule.
I think so, yeah.
And my voice was gone. But for me, I was in this place where whenever there was an I took more than a decade off of music, and I had just spent 2019 recording my first album in a long time, and had just gotten back into performing. And I had this question that I kept asking myself whenever there was an obstacle, like getting sick or something. And the question was, am I going to allow this obstacle to kick me off? Like, if I allow every little thing that happens to kick me off this path that I have finally gotten back onto, then that's a good answer to the question. The question being, do I really want to be doing this or not?
Right.
Because it took so much to start doing it again after all that time. And that was definitely one of the biggest obstacles that was in my path that particular night, with zero voice. And so I ended up kind of Bob Dylaning my songs, like let's see here.
Yeah, I should have just done spoken word, because you can hear I sound.
I was like, I waited for you. I waited for you a long time. And it was like such an interesting way to play my music. I had never done anything like that before. And I mean, it did not sound good. However, it was, from an artistic standpoint, it felt like, if you're a right-handed artist, it felt like switching the paintbrush or the pencil into the other hand and just seeing what happened. And it was kind of an interesting thing to try. Now, you just now sounded 10,000 times better than I sounded that particular night.
Well,
but I still feel for you, because I can feel it.
It's terrible, and it's no fun to sing when you can't talk.
Totally.
And unfortunately, now it'll be out there forever. We'll just glue something over it.
A little sticker at the top.
A little sticker.
Like a little banner.
Yeah.
Ibuprofen
wrecked me. I'll do a redo, and then we'll just kind of.
We'll have you back. We'll have you back again when you're feeling awesome.
I feel fine, other than not being able to talk. But anyway, now to you.
Let's see here. There goes the plane again.
I know.
It's gonna be over your house in a minute, or maybe it just came over.
I can hear it. Yeah, it's here.
After 9/11, it took me years and years before I got back on a plane. At first, I didn't realize how much it affected me, and then it became a thing. Like, a couple of years went by, I was like, wow, I still haven't been on an airplane. And this time now, I kind of think about that, like, what are the things? Maybe not airplane, but what are, to shake a hand or blow out candles on a birthday cake, or
When are salad bars coming back? That's what I want to know.
Salad bars.
That's what I miss.
Yeah, I was remembering this venue that I had played when I was on tour out in Texas, called Alice's Restaurant, outside of Austin. It was about 45 minutes maybe outside of the city limits. And there was a above ground pool. There was an outdoor stage. We arrived. They were like, "Do you have your suits?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then I saw the pool. But they also had this magnificent buffet. It was like Harry Potter table, like just food coming out, biscuits and whatever. And I found myself thinking about that the other day, like,
it's gonna be a
salad
while.
bar, right?
Yeah.
So this is I didn't know what to play tonight, but I think that I was feeling really fiery earlier today when you and I first connected, and you have successfully calmed me down.
Oh, good.
So I think I'll play a quieter song. It's a song called Only Forever. I waited for you. Hold on one second. Let's see here. Do that? There we go. I waited for you. I waited for you. A long time, stood outside the schoolyard. The swings twisting in the wind. I prayed for you. I prayed for you a long time, to chase you in the park, try to catch you in a sprint. The things I know but cannot explain. How life is measured by what you lose and what you gain. how to fight for what you treasure. Let it go when it's time to surrender, and how I'll love you only forever. You came to me, you grew up tall and gangly. I taught you how to swim, taught you everything I know. But maybe God was lonely, or fate knew all along I'd protect you with my life. But Lord knows I'm not that strong, and things I know but cannot explain. How life is measured by what you lose and what you gain, and how to fight for what you treasure. Let it go when it's time to surrender, and how I'll love you only forever. They say wounds yield a purpose, and cracks bring the light. All I know is stone on the earth, angel in the sky. Things I know but cannot explain. How life is measured by what you lose and what you gain, and how to fight for what you treasure. Let it go when it's time to surrender, and how I'll love you only forever.
That was very soothing.
A little bit of a quieter thing.
Yeah.
Amelia, thank you so much for being here on the show today.
Thank you for inviting me.
It's been so nice to talk with you.
Yeah, you too. It's been very good, and I apologize for my crap voice. But
if you forgive me for my loss of voice in January, I completely forgive you for your crap voice today. How about that?
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it's been a real treat. So
Yeah.
almost as good as being in person, but not
I know. Yeah. A friend had me on her show back in March, and it felt so great to connect with another songwriter that was sort of the birth of this show. I was like, you know, this is what we got to work with right now. So,
right.
you know, really great to have you. Thank you. And I'll say goodbye right here. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming over for this latest Tomes and Tunes weekly book talk and song swap with songwriters. That was Amelia K Spicer. By the way, I forgot to ask her when her next live stream show is. Maybe she'll put it in the chat box. I hope so. I know that she is playing a lot. I linked to her her website and her music in the show notes, so I do hope that you will listen on and on, put her music on your playlists and everything. it was just such a pleasure to have her. Next week, we have Duff Ferguson for week 24. I hope to see you then. My next show is tomorrow for my weekly Friday Arielle's Acoustic Happy Hour. And I will be singing songs, telling stories, sharing some voter registration things, and we'll just continue to make our way through and connect. So I hope you have a wonderful day, week, whenever we next connect. Thank you for being here. Take good care.